Hi, everybody. This is Kevin Purcell with the Theotek podcast, as we are every week here on a Tuesday night, talking about church technology. That's hence the Theo and the Tech, Theotek with a K. Tonight we are going to do things a little bit out of order. A few weeks ago we started doing something called Our Favorite Things, and so tonight we're going to start off with Our Favorite Things. And what that is each one of us has a recommendation, something cool, a product, an app, a service, a pair of jeans, whatever it is that we love, that we think you might be interested in, and we're going to share that off. But let's first start off by introducing everyone. We've got a full complement, enough for a basketball team tonight, with Wes Allen, who was sick last week. Are you feeling better this week, buddy?
Yeah, I'm still on the mend, but I am very glad to be back upright this week.
All right, cool. And then we also have LaRosa Johnson with us. He's thankfully able to join us this evening. How are you, sir?
Good. Been a long day, but ready to get at it.
Yeah, still plugging away and doing your Olive Tree Bible software goodies. Yes, okay, well, good. And then we've got Antoine, who is setting up in new digs and is able to join us this week again. We're glad you're with us. Antoine, how are the new digs?
Quiet, peaceful, and getting increasingly techie. AKA.
Right. Finally setting everything up. I'm looking kind of scruffy tonight, unshaven. We've had 2 snow days here, and so we've purposely been a little bit lazy tonight. Rick is hopefully going to be able to join us. Rick, he's from Accordance Bible Software, and we advertised that he'd be showing off the newest version of Accordance Mobile, which I believe that's 2.3. Isn't that what I put in there? Is that right? And unfortunately, he's having some technical difficulties getting connected and staying connected, and finally got connected and didn't have any audio. So that's why we're going to start off with Our Favorite Things. And I think I'm going to throw it over to you, Wes. By the way, after this, we'll also hear from Antoine. He's got a couple of things that he's cooking up that sound exciting, so we want to share about that after we're done with these recommendations. But Wes, why don't you take charge and start with your favorite thing?
Thank you very much. Well, I have a MacBook Pro. I love it. It's great. 2 things that have kind of deficient in it. I hate the fact that it only has 2 USB ports, and it doesn't have built-in Ethernet, which occasionally I still need to use that for configuring a new router or something like that. And so I was trolling on Amazon, and I found this nifty little gadget. It was $20. It's a 3-port USB 3 hub, and on the end, this is the coup de grace, it has gigabit Ethernet. So, and it works really well. It was funny. I got 2 items in the mail this past week. Both of them came with drivers on one of those little mini CDs.
Yeah.
Which, like, I haven't had anything to play with those things on for like years. So, this is like a Chinese knockoff company. I had to like track down the website. It was like doing a scavenger hunt. Finally found the driver, installed it, works perfectly. Highly recommended if you're looking for the ability to just kind of add some extra USB 3 ports and some Ethernet on any device, like an Ultrabook of any make that you need. Really cool.
Is that an Anchor product?
It's Unitek.
Okay, all right.
And
well,
yeah.
The reason I asked is I found this, and that looks almost like the exact same thing, right?
Yeah, it's like it's just a knockoff company. So
okay.
It's basically the same thing. I think Unitek it's $3 cheaper. So like the same thing.
Unitech?
Tek.
Tek, just like Theotek.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unitek
3-port. All right. So it's $20. Yeah, it is a little bit cheaper. Anchor's a little bit more established name in accessories, but it looks like this is the same product just with different branding. So.
And I think they basically all are. They're created in the same factory and shipped with slightly different branding.
And looks like you can get in black or white, which is nice. Yeah, having that. Well, here's a different model of it. It looks like it's a slightly different one.
That doesn't have the Ethernet.
Oh, okay, all right.
So this all got started because I wanted to get an Ethernet jack for my phone because I had an issue connecting to something one time, and I found this and went, I want that. So I got it for my birthday.
Yeah, how long is the cord on that? It doesn't look like
It's not very long at all. No, it's basically a USB hub.
Yeah, so it's great for carrying around in a bag because it won't, huge cords have, take up too much space.
Yep.
And it's sufficiently fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, I've been
plugged a hard drive into it, and it seems still.
Yeah, I ran my USB 3 spinning hard drive off of it and edited a video with no problem.
Cool. All right.
So.
Well, that does look like a good option, so I'm going to add that to the old wish list. I might pick one of those up myself here. All right.
Can I do a test to see if anyone can hear me?
We can hear you, brother.
We can hear you, Rick.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we decided we're going to do our favorite things first, and let's do your demo after that. I'm going to stop screen sharing here so people can see my scruffy face. All right. Antoine, you want to go up next?
Sure. This past weekend, I was in Berks County, not too far from Reading area, Pennsylvania, where it was a high of 9 degrees and a wind chill of -9, but the Boy Scouts were still out camping in snow and ice. Was out there at a teen event, and one of the gentlemen who was out there was from a group out in Philadelphia called City Reach. They basically do youth ministry programs for churches. So for churches that don't really have the ability to support a youth ministry program, they are the youth ministry program for them. And they concentrate in low-income areas, specifically with African American and Latino communities in Northeast Philly. The one gentleman, Brandon Fasick, who's had a few kids up there, was, we were just going back and forth, and he related to me that in order to kind of keep his connectivity, keep the connection going with the kids, because they see them every day, he actually, after he does his Monday meetings with them, he hosts about 30 kids in his home. He does a podcast, and he creates the whole podcast, does everything right from his iPhone. He basically takes the outline and does kind of like a follow-up of what they talked about the night before, and posts that on Facebook. It's called the 831 Podcast. It's on Facebook. That's the only place you can find it. He's not doing it to iTunes or any other place yet. But he'll be doing a new one next week. He's actually traveling on this week. But it's something that he does. He says about every Tuesday, once a week, that he aims to do it. And I thought that was just a pretty neat option, a good way to keep kids connected. And I'm interested really in hearing more folks that.
And what was the name of it again?
The 831 Podcast.
But it's only on Facebook right now.
Yeah, he only posted on Facebook. Yeah, he does the entire production for it from his iPad. He uses Bosjoki, Bosjoki, to record and then post. Just uses the regular share mechanism right through iOS to share the podcast, which is really, there's nothing complicated about it, but I like simplicity, and so that really counted as one of the favorite things I wanted to talk about this week.
And you might have said already, and I missed it. What was the 831 in reference to?
Romans. I think he said it was Romans 8:31 that it was in reference to, but I didn't. I can't remember if he did. I didn't write it down. I scribbled everything down really fast. I'm looking at a really badly written Evernote note right now.
Okay. Well, cool. You've got a link to that, right, that you could share so we could put it up on the show notes on theotek.com?
Yes, I do.
All right, if you'll share that with me in a little bit, that'll be cool. And that sounds great. All right, La Rosa, what you got for us?
Yeah, mine's an app. I can't show it off, but it's an iOS app called Dark Sky, and basically what it is a weather app. And I really don't use a whole lot of weather apps, but this one's really nice because it uses your location and basically lets you know of impending weather. So it'll let you know, hey, it's going to rain in a couple of minutes. It'll be done at this time, based on all the radar information. So it's a really cool app. I just started using it. One of my coworkers have been recommending it to me for a few weeks now. And finally downloaded it. It was like $3.99. So it was a really good app and definitely useful around here this time of year when it can snow or rain in pretty much the drop of a hat.
Yeah, I like this one too. It's my show.
Apple Watch.
Yeah, it's got Apple Watch functionality built in, which is nice. It's my chosen app. I think it's kind of like the weather app for nerds. If you really, really like weather, it has tons of information. But also, if you just, like me, just want simple weather in a beautiful presentation on an iPhone or on your Apple Watch, as you can see down here, and I really like it. It uses the jog dial on your Apple Watch, so you can go advance it a few days depending on the view that you're looking, which I like. Yeah, cool. And it is $3.99, as you said there, so not free, but worth the $4 in my opinion. I paid for it. And I was just getting ready to say, Rick, it's your turn, but unfortunately he keeps getting knocked off on here. And Wes, I don't know if you have enough experience with the Accordance app. Do you?
My problem is I don't have a iPad that can take advantage of most of the new features.
Oh, okay, all right.
So
I think I may be back for good.
what happened?
I have no idea. I've had all kinds of trouble tonight. Even to the point that my iPad keyboard wasn't working anymore. It's like some kind of poltergeist in the house.
Yeah, maybe the terrorists have that thing that is supposed to zap all the electricity.
Yeah.
In America, maybe it's right above your house, and they're doing a little test.
I had my wife shut down all of her devices, and I've switched browsers a couple of times, and I've switched back and forth between the 5 gigahertz channel and the regular one. So I think maybe we finally might be ready to go here.
Well, let's go to it real quick. So
before anything,
before you get knocked off again.
let me fill up the QuickTime player so I can connect to my iPad. So go ahead. Were you going to say something, Kevin?
No, I was just going to say that, while you're doing that and getting things set up, I'll just kind of vamp a little and tell you that I've been someone who's very critical of the Accordance mobile app from the beginning, my early usage of it. But when you guys hit 2.0, it took big strides forward, and so these new features sound even better, and so I'm excited to see what you got. Is he frozen? Yeah, it looks like it.
Now we should let viewers know. Kevin, you did a search. You found out Google's been having issues on Hangouts since about what, 4 o'clock? You said.
Yeah. In fact, if you go to, let's see, what was that website? I always have to search it, but I always say Google status.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you. Let's see here. Downdetector.com.
Yeah.
Is telling us that Google has been having problems today since 4 o'clock, and so that may be what Rick's dealing with, is the problems that they're having since 4 o'clock. So it may not just be that we're unprofessional. It might be that Google's fumbling the ball. Here.
That may be. I can try to get things to work here. Let's see if it'll hold for a while. And the thing about this is, I do this stuff all the time. I've got a webinar I did last week. I've got one that I'm going to do this week, and so normally we don't have these kinds of problems.
Would it be helpful if I shared my screen and then you can just kind of talk me through what you're wanting to show off?
Well, I've kind of got some stuff set up here. If I can get this to go. At the moment, it's not even letting me share my screen. I'm gonna refresh this page, so I might blink in and out.
Okay. Yeah, it's frustrating when you're doing live, podcasting like this, and they, everything works perfectly until you go live and want to actually make it work for you. So I'm trying to find I think you had a blog post on it. I was trying to find that at the very least we can show off. Here we go. The reviews are in.
Okay, I think I may be sharing my screen.
Yeah, you are.
You are.
Okay. Well, good enough. Let me show you a few things. This release came out last week, I think around Monday, and this was our. You have to tell me if you lose me. This was our big iOS 9 update, and so there are a number of new features. One of the new features is slide over, which many folks are familiar with. And so, for instance, I can pull up a website here and have that available. We also have the split view. And by the way, you're talking about the website real quick. In case we do lose folks, let me just say down here at the bottom, if someone goes to Accordance Mobile and you want to see new features in 2.3, that's kind of what I'm trying to show off here. And so there are some new features that are right there. And then on the blog, from I think last Monday or Tuesday, we do have a video that shows some of these. So, but hopefully we won't have these kinds of technical problems. And so let me just try to give a quick demo. So you saw slide over, and slide over is very handy if you want to just check some quick information if you aren't familiar with it. And this works only well, slide over works on more devices than slide view does. But split view. But if I come in here to split view, this can be very handy if you want to have two applications open at a time. And I think it's going to be very helpful to pastors, to students, to people who want to be doing actual research, so that for instance, I've got Mel open here, and this is actually one of my old papers that I just it makes for a good demo. But you can take content out of Accordance. I can copy that, and I could come here to the end of the line in Mel. You still have me?
Yeah, we still got you.
Okay, and you can paste that. I don't know if you saw Peacemakers. Follow the word Herod there, but and that even works with original language content, of course. I can copy that and then come back over here, and that was, actually I did something a little bit I haven't even tried before. I copied it from Accordance, and then I didn't even touch the Mel side. I just hit paste, and it automatically knew where to go, which is pretty cool. That was I really think this is going to change. This type of split view is going to be very helpful to a lot of people because there's so many times where I'd be preparing a lesson or a Bible study or a sermon or something like that, and I'd be switching back and forth. And of course, you do have this nice task switcher now in iOS 9 if you have a keyboard connected to your iPad. And that's really nice. But the old way that we did that was, we double tap the home button, and then we'd slide through these different applications, and you just go back and forth. And so now, especially if you're doing a lot of writing, I think this is going to be really helpful to a lot of people. And part of it has to do with whether or not an application has been updated to work. And so, this is Mel. It has been. And let's see, these are just some other apps that have been, most of the basic Apple apps have. Here's Keynote, which is very helpful. Keynote's helpful too because if you are in Keynote and you're presenting, and so you have a presenter screen up, you can actually, I can use my presenter screen here that would have my notes, and I can actually have Accordance over here, and the people who are looking at the screen that the projector is showing, they're only looking at this.
There he goes again. But I got to tell you, that split screen when presenter mode is going, and being able to have something else open on the other side of that is the one thing that really makes me want to get an iPad Pro.
Oh yeah, it's great. I haven't used it a lot, but I did test it one Wednesday night, and it was just so much nicer. Of course, what I was doing was showing, I had Keynote on the side, and then I had Word going, and so for me it was, I wasn't using a Bible app for it, but it was really nice. And then of course the split view, as he was saying, is just monumentally wonderful to have your Bible app open and your word processor open if that's the way you work, or whatever document you type into. It is excellent.
Yeah, I wish I could use split view on my original iPad Air because that's such a great feature, and it should be enabled, and I'm a little annoyed that it's not.
One of the things in that split view mode that they have now is, let me see if I can try. If you're able to stay with us, Rick, I was going to show off the rotation of the two.
Oh, the panes. That's really
columns,
cool.
but, I'm trying to share my screen and give it a second.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Rick.
How long have I been gone? Because I was just talking away.
Yeah, give us a minute.
What was the last thing you saw?
Something like that.
The split screen.
You were talking about
presenter mode's
split
going.
Okay. I'm not even seeing any of you. That's how frustrating this is.
I have my iPad showing up here. I was going to tell them about the rotating columns.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I was going to show next. If the vertical columns are too narrow, you can now adjust the layout.
And can you see my cursor down here in the corner?
Mm-hmm.
Of the accordance view. There's that little button there, and so when it's in that split screen mode, these two columns get a little narrow, and so you hit that button, and that's a nice feature. I wish all the apps that had split screen in support that also had multiple columns in their app. I wish all of them had a button to quickly do this because it's so much easier. And of course, that, like always in accordance, you can rotate resize the screen there. Let's see, what else? See, I don't remember it well enough. I've been using, I haven't really been using all that much. Like I've said, I'm not a big accordance user, but I really did enjoy this, and so I downloaded it and tried to go through some of this stuff. Spotlight search support.
Yes, that's one thing you can show.
No, that's not the right thing. Let me see here. I'm forgetting how to do stuff on the iPad.
Slide down. Just put your finger in the middle and slide down.
There we go.
There you go.
All right, so let's see. What could I search for? Grace, and tap it in accordance, and there we have a search result, which is a nice way to get at it real quickly without having to. You don't even have to open accordance, right? To get the spotlight search results.
It's interesting that it defaults to a topic search. Rick, is there a way to get it to like a look for the exact word?
Unfortunately, we can't hear him now. It does scripture references, though.
Yeah, but if you look on the thing, it says it's a topic search.
Well, hang on.
Which I think is fine, but
let me fix that. Let me show you. John 3:16.
Right, that gives you all the versions.
So it offers to open it in multiple translations. Whatever I have installed on my iPad.
Right, but I'm wondering if there's a way to search for the word grace from Spotlight, or if it just defaults to topic.
I guess I don't know what you mean. You mean instead of just searching the text of the Bible for grace?
It's not, but that's not the whole. That's the thing. It's searching on a topic. So like here's what I discovered. So don't type in grace. Type in Satan.
Type in what?
Satan.
Satan. All right.
Okay, now tap on that, and you're going to get Genesis 3, and see how it's not looking for the word. It's looking for the topic.
Oh, okay. So it's always doing a topical search instead of a.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if you can switch.
That actually has to do with the architecture of iOS. So right now, and this is one of the things that Android fans really appreciate about Google now, iOS apps, while they can search some of the content of apps, they really don't search in apps as much as they search for labels that are exposed within the apps. Whereas on the Android side, in-device search is actually searching inside the app. So it's not just the metadata or the labels, but it's actually searching context itself. So the kind of level of search that you're looking for, or at least speaking of,
You can't do from Spotlight.
you can't do now. That's an iOS limitation, and it has. I mean, there's a security vector to that piece, but there's
Right.
also just some technical pieces in terms of, and Rick would be able to actually speak on this from a more technical end as to why certain things were exposed and weren't exposed, that wise.
If Rick gets his audio back.
Got your audio back there, Rick? No, it looks like he's
frozen again.
I don't know what other books allow for this internal web browser. I'm looking at their website, and this is something I didn't know about or haven't used, and so we can hear you.
Test. Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah. We're up to talking about the internal web browser support, but what we were talking about was the fact that it only does scripture reference searches from Spotlight versus topic searches. And
No,
is there no way to make it do a text search?
I don't think there is at this point, and I think I heard Antoine saying something about it's a limitation in iOS. I could be wrong, but on that. But I think he's correct in that regard. So it's doing topic searches, and then you can open up a particular reference.
Okay.
And of course, this is also kind of our first pass at it. So I look at it as I'm sure there's room to improve. There is something that's important, though, that I've run into a few people who have told me that they can't get the Spotlight search to work at all. And so, Kevin, if you want to show this, you go to your settings, and your settings for your iPad.
Oh, for iPad settings.
Yeah,
okay.
And then go to Accordance settings.
Okay.
And I can't see, your screen's not showing on mine. I can't see your screen, but there is a place to reset the Spotlight index.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so
right
if you flip that switch, if you're not getting any Spotlight results at all, if you flip that switch, I found that works really every time. I was trying to help someone today, and we still couldn't get it to work, and turns out he was on an iPad too, which is why it wouldn't work. But as long as the device supports Spotlight indexing, you flip that, you go back to...
So you hit it once?
Hit it once, you go back into iPad, or back into Accordance, and when you go back in, it resets all those things. Those are kind of little troubleshooting features.
Rick, when I do a Spotlight search and look up like a verse reference, should it show every version of the Bible that has that verse in it?
No, it will usually default to the top.
Gotcha.
The top 2 or 3 versions that you've ranked in your text folder.
Gotcha.
So like when I did that just now, I typed in John 3:16 and it gave me the HCSB. It gave me the Nestle Aland 28, and then in case I had it wrong, it gave me 1 John 3:16.
Cool. How do you rank your stuff in there? Is just in the text?
Yeah. If
I see. Gotcha.
I was going to say I could try to share my screen again, and we can see if it'll let me. It's interesting. Tonight I'm having more luck with Google than more luck with Safari than Google Chrome. Trying to stay in here, which is really interesting. But let me share that and see if I can come back here to. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So in Accordance, let me make that full screen. In Accordance, if I go into my library, which is that bottom left-hand icon, and then I'm going to this is showing me my most recent items. I'm going to tap Library again, and when I do that, this is really kind of the old structure. It doesn't have the new Accordance 11 library structure, but in this case, I can go into text, and this is text or any primary text, any versified primary text, whether it's the Bible, whether it's Josephus, pseudepigrapha, and Dead Sea Scrolls, and so you can basically I kind of rank them, And so, you see up there at the top, the HCSB with Strong's is my default. That's what the Sunday school curriculum that I teach out of uses that. So I usually keep that as my default. But then I've got the Nestle Align Greek New Testament and the Hebrew Bible, mainly for my own use, Septuagint. Then I come down and I've got, the ESV and the NIV and so forth. And so, the results when I was doing this on my own before you could see my screen, I typed John 3:16 in search results. In fact, I can do that here. When I do that, you'll notice here, down here at the bottom of the screen, I get HCSB, Nestle Align 28, and then he gave me 1 John just in case I had it wrong. Well, I guess I should have left it. I should have followed through with that. If I click on John 3:16, it should take me to that verse, although it didn't. That's on par for tonight.
Is it maybe because you have your library open? Does it stop you?
Really shouldn't, I don't think, but there we go. It did it that time. So I don't know. That time I switched to the Greek New Testament and it worked. So all right. Anything else I can show you here, or you want me to take over, Kevin, while it's working, or do you want to?
Yeah, well, I was just going to make a comment that if you'll notice, I'm doing the same thing, and when I had my library open when I did this, it wouldn't jump to it, but when I close the library in accordance, it jumps to it. So that's maybe a little bug or something you've got. I don't know.
Yeah, and like I said, I think we need to, we'll need to tweak this some, but I can remember, maybe a year ago when I first started doing this podcast with you guys, I remember Antoine saying that this is what he would like to see, universal search, where you do a search in something like Spotlight and it gives you your Bible software in addition to, in addition to other applications as well, or the internet, and we're kind of at that stage, but Apple really had to kind of make it allowable so that it would be at that stage.
But I've got dozens of Bible apps on here, and yours is the only one that shows up in the Spotlight search.
Well, I do know of one other one that should work. I don't know if you have to turn it on or not. I don't know if LaRosa could tell us if Olive Tree's been updated for it yet. But is LaRosa still on with us?
No, he's not.
He disappeared too.
He disappeared too. Yeah, we're having trouble coast to coast tonight. While this is still kind of working, let me try a few other things here. In looking at the some of the new features, and pull my list back up here in front of me. I think you were about to look at the internal web browser support.
Yeah, we were.
Okay, so that's in certain applications. I would say that probably 99% of titles that we have in the Accordance Library do not depend upon internet support. Once you've downloaded them, you've got them. I'm searching in recent rather than searching in my library, and so. But one of these titles that we have is called the Virtual Temple, and this was put together by Randall Price, who is at Liberty, and it does some amazing 360-degree virtual tours. And so when I click on the little icon that's underneath this 360 image, the icon that I guess it's kind of the universal icon saying you're going to go elsewhere. You're not actually going elsewhere. What this did before 2.3 was it went to Safari, but now it doesn't go to Safari anymore. Now we're doing this internally, and I'm sure it's using the Safari engine, but it's now internal. And I'll tell you one advantage of this that I had not thought of. I had someone email me just the other day and ask about it. He was kind of concerned about the browser support, and he told me he had he told me, I'm not going to, I'm certainly not going to say his name, but he told me that, years ago he had struggled with an addiction to pornography, and so he and his wife had set up his iPad so that he couldn't access the internet on it without her being there. And he was very concerned about now in his favorite Bible app, he was going to have a portal to the internet. Well, I don't know of any way to do it. I mean, we're here in this app, and yet we're still in accordance. If I hit done up here at the top, it just takes us back to where we were before. And so, and if you haven't seen this particular title yet, it's pretty neat to let you see information about some of these various things, and you can zoom in real close, and you can take 360-degree tours of some of these. Have to almost be careful, and there'd be music playing if you could hear it, but you're not going to hear the music because I've got that. I've got this connected through QuickTime.
Is that virtual Bible?
Yeah, this is yeah, this is, whoops. Oh, that took me out somehow. This is, I didn't hit done. That was the problem. This is Virtual Tour to the Temple. We do have another title called Virtual Bible, but this is Virtual Tour to the Temple that Dr. Randall Price put together.
That's what I've got open because I don't have the virtual tour.
All right. Let's see what else. You covered changing the orientation of the panes.
Yep.
And here's an important one. With Accordance 11, we changed our. Go back here to a biblical text. We changed our format of our user notes. And that user notes is, for instance, in Accordance 11, it allows you to take notes on anything. Before we could just take notes on versified text, but now you can take notes anywhere. And of course, the mobile version is always, it's always playing a little bit of catch up. But for instance, I'm going to go in here to the sample notes version 2 because these have been updated for this. I'm going to kind of go down here a little bit to, in fact, I'm going to go back to Genesis 1, so that you can really see some of these. This now has support for these enhanced notes. Now we still don't have the feature in here where you've got notes over every title, but we do have these enhancements that we added. So for instance, you've got pictures that you can add to the notes. And we have these links. There's now in Accordance 11. There's a location URL. You see it right here, kind of spelled out. But there's also ways that you can do it. I was going to see if it was here in. Yeah, if you look down here where it says this verse from Matthew, if I click on that, that should take us. I say it should take us. Okay, bug. But this allows you to have access to these, and I think even the websites are working out now, and so these enhancements to the notes are there, and we're continuing to improve this to catch up with what we have available in Accordance 11. Look, there's a link to a Theotek podcast. You see that? We're right here. Theotek podcast with Rick Mansfield and Dr. J. Awesome. So we're here in the sample notes. Notes on Genesis 1. So anyway, you see how they're. You see it has access to those enhanced notes, and those are really more full-featured in Accordance 11 right now, but at least you can now see them. We don't have them yet to where you can fully edit them here, but you will be able to do that as well.
That's something that's been a long time coming too, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and of course you see the before 2.3. I don't think that you could do the Chinese and the Arabic, for instance. But you see, this is full Unicode support for these extended languages. We already had that for Greek and Hebrew, and I think the Syriac. But now we're like I said, it's a mobile version catching up with what the desktop version has been doing.
Good.
Okay. There also you're not going to be able to hear this. You're not going to be able to hear the audio in this, unfortunately. But because the way I've got this connected through QuickTime. But if here we go. Here's Decker's Koine reader. We added support. We had certain levels of multimedia support already, but we added some of these more enhanced additions. Decker's Koine grammar just came out in, I think it came out in November, and so, for instance, if I hit, you see this icon up at the top for sound. Now, again, you're not going to be able to hear it because of the way I've got it connected to the computer here. But you see at the very bottom of the screen, it's showing basically a little audio player, and it's saying something like chapter 19 vocabulary, and then he starts reading through the meros and kilios and so forth. He starts reading through the vocabulary, which is very helpful to a beginning student in order to be able to learn how to pronounce the titles. Or, I'm sorry, the vocabulary. And another example of a text like this that we have is our audio Greek New Testament. And so I'm not certain exactly how quickly I could switch to it, and you're not going to be able to hear it anyway. But if I have the Greek New Testament open, now I have an audio Greek New Testament. And I should have. I don't have this kind of really prepared, just according to if I see it here real quick. But here it is, Greek New Testament audio. And so you can put this here. You can resize it, and of course it scrolls with the text as you would expect it to. But you can start playing, and now you see that same player down at the bottom. And so it picked up. I tapped on Ephesians 1:5. It picked up with that, and it will continue going until I stopped it. We just in the last year incorporated this audio version of the Greek New Testament, and but it came as one large digital file. And so what we've done right now is we've broken it up with stops, by sentences, and then eventually it'll be broken down. I believe I was told to be broken down word by word, so that you'd be able to even just click on a word, and perhaps one of the features that show up there would tell you, pronounce, and you'd say Christo.
Is it just the the computerized voice? No.
It's a actual human voice.
How big are the files?
It's really not too bad. I can't answer your question specifically here at the moment. I can look it up later. But it's really not all that large because you don't need it to be. You don't need it to be at a
high fidelity recording.
Right. And so they work to get it at a reasonable size in order to make this usable on an iPad or an iPhone. And you could even listen to this on your iPhone, and you put your headphones in and go for a walk and just listen to the Greek New Testament.
There you go. Sounds awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Anything else you got on there?
Just minor stuff. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty. If you have something open here, like for instance, Decker's Koine Greek is a good example. You see right here in the middle of my screen where it says page 326. You can now, this is really exciting, you can now come in here to your display settings, and you can change that page number color.
Oh.
Isn't that exciting? You can change. That was a very minor update, but you'd be surprised how many people really wanted to be able to do that. They didn't like the page number color that we had in there by default. So
my life is now complete.
Yeah. There's our nighttime. We've had nighttime mode for a while. So not quite the demonstration I had planned tonight. Because of the technical difficulties, but at least they've held up for the last 20 minutes or so. Any questions I can answer over anything that I or Kevin showed off? I appreciate Kevin jumping in.
You guys got anything, Antoine or Wes, on that?
No, I've been enjoying it. One of the things that I noticed in earlier versions, Rick, was sometimes when you chose different fonts from the iOS font selection, Accordance would go wonky. Have you guys nailed some of those problems?
Fonts in like for instance like a commentary or something.
Or even in just the Bible text. Like I picked Cardo as my default display text one time, and the spacing got all screwy.
Okay.
And
I can come in here to fonts and of course this is.
Which font were you having trouble with?
I used to have problems with Cardo, which is one of my favorite fonts, but it doesn't do it anymore. But I noticed
if you had problems with there's Cardo.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
It looks like it's working fine to me.
Yeah. Well, and let me put it in something that's not a bunch of Greek. Let's go back to thought maybe here's good old Halley's Bible Handbook. We'll go to a section here. Okay, so I can come in here to the fonts, and this may just be something that has been improved since you last looked at it, but I'll switch it. For instance, I can switch it to Cardo.
Yeah, it works fine now.
Yeah, so that was probably something that's been worked out for a while. I don't particularly like Cardo on that. I've always used Cardo for a good Unicode font for exporting Hebrew and Greek on the Mac, but we're actually working on our own font that can be fully distributable. And it's awesome. In beta right now. Some folks are already using it. It's just called Accordance. And so, that font would, I hope it's okay that I'm talking about it. It's been talked about on Twitter already, so, what kind of trouble could I get into? But that would then show up here. It's not on here yet, but it would show up on here, and it's available for Windows and Macintosh. The Windows and Mac beta version's already out. And so It's got the full Unicode sets of all of the type we do, but if you have to give a Word document maybe to a publisher, and you've been using you want to make sure that your fonts look correct. Give them this, tell them to download the Accordance font. We're going to make it available for free for anyone to use, and we'll still retain copyright of it, but it'll be for anyone to use, and that will be I think that'll be especially helpful to people who share documents regularly. You won't have to resort, right now. In this kind of stuff, if you're doing original languages, you have to resort to creating a PDF, and so you won't have to do that anymore. Here's one of our internal fonts, Helena. Now I just turned all of Haley's Bible Handbook into Greek text, but
that's not a Unicode font, though, right?
No, I don't know what that one is. That's not our fault. I don't know what that font is. Here we could read Haley's Bible Handbook in marker felt if we wanted to. No, I like Palatino.
Wrong.
Why anybody would, I don't know.
Yeah, Palatino is a nice looking font. It does italics nicely, and it complements our transliteration quite well, which you probably aren't going to have that here in Halley's, but we have an internal transliteration font called Rosetta, and Palatino looks really nice with Rosetta. Cool. Any other questions?
I think you covered pretty good. I think we got a good view of it, and I'm excited about the new features. I think it's, again, I find more and more reasons to want to open Accordance on my iPad. My only limitation at this point, of course, is library. But for simple Bible reading and things like that, I often jump into it first. If I'm listening to a sermon or Bible study, I go to our Monday Ministers Conference, and that's often the app that I pop open now.
Good.
It's quick. It's quick and clean. That's one of the things I like most about it compared to my other chosen Bible software on my iPad.
Yeah,
that side feature is huge.
Well, and I think that's a value that we've had, from the beginning is speed. In order to make what you're doing, you shouldn't have to wait on software. The difficulty becomes, and this is true not just for us, but for any Bible software platform. Bible software is much more complicated than your average app running on iOS. It's more complicated than your weather app. It's more complicated than even Microsoft Word or Excel. Because it does more things, and so it's a challenge, but goodness, I know that I personally use the iOS app more and more. It used to be a small percentage, and now I'm using it. I'm using it quite a bit. And if anyone's interested in seeing some more, I'll be hosting a webinar. I think I might have said earlier. I might have said tomorrow when I was kind of frazzled when this wasn't working. But it'll be Thursday, and you can go to our website and sign up. But we'll be doing kind of a second part, a little bit more advanced accordance mobile use, and hopefully I won't have the difficulties that we've had today.
And just so people don't think we're just, our job is only to plug Accordance Bible software, I do want to show you that, Logos, here's the Logos app running in the side-by-side, feature. And, there are others that let's see.
Does your iPad blow up if you put Logos right next to Accordance in a split view? I'm just kidding.
What's that? Does it blow up if that happens? Well, let's try it. Let's see what happens, All right.
Yeah, it should work.
Try
somehow I know it
believe it or not.
Try copying.
That actually is very useful because if you have something in one app and you don't have it in another, but you still like to keep your notes all in one place, that's useful.
And if you've got split screen on both of them, you kind of have it's what I want to hopefully will eventually see in Accordance Mobile. I want 4 windows working together.
What I don't see is anything other than Logos or Accordance showing up as an option in split.
I think we may be the only two. And I know that La Rosa had told us that they were working on. Well, look, there's Pocket Bible from Meridian.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick, do you know what's the timeline, or are you guys working on implementing? When you create a note, can I just have it 2 panes open and edit my note on one pane and have the text on the other pane now, or is that we're still waiting on that?
No, you should be able to do that. Let me see here. I'm not sharing my screen anymore, but I'll do it on my end. But no, I think you should. Well, I think I think what you're wanting to ask is you're asking if does the third window come up? Is that what you're asking?
Or if it just replaces my notes pane with just an editor?
No, it's still gonna be that window that's gonna open in the middle for you to edit the note in.
Bummer. Okay.
Yeah, outside of a current hack right now, Wes, the only kind of a side-by-side that you're going to get with one app and then doing 2 windows side-by-side is a hack that somebody's done with Safari. They basically run a different Safari instance. So you can do Safari and a web inspector side-by-side on the iPad Pro.
No, I mean Olive Tree does it. So I can have the text open on one pane, and I can have the editor open on the other pane.
On a slide over pane, or are you talking?
Not a slide. It's a slide over pane on Olive Tree. So.
Oh, hold up.
But they display their notes differently too. So. But it's not a deal breaker for me. It just is. It would be nice to be able to have. I'd like to be able to when I'm translating. I'd like to be able to sit there and edit on one pane and be able to access like BDAG on the other pane.
I hear you.
Which would be nice.
I'm all for it.
All right. Well, that shows at least 2 or at least 3 of the apps that I have on my iPad: Pocket Bible, Logos, and Olive Tree. And then what I was showing just a second ago is Penultimate. If you're someone who likes to take notes, or you want a virtual chalkboard as you're studying the Bible with your students, either in a class at church or if you teach in a college or just whatever, and hook it up to a projector, to the old AirPlay thing through an Apple TV, or a reflector with a Mac or Windows, and you can show it off that way, and that's a useful tool. I've kind of gotten out of the habit of doing that, but maybe I ought to, with the iPad Pro, start doing a little bit more of that. So, well, it's been an eventful hour, especially for you, Rick, trying to jump on and off, and we really appreciate you showing off the app to us. And listen, if there are other Bible app creators out there and you want to show off your Bible app, I don't care how obscure or small, or if it only has 3 downloads in the App Store, we'll still show it off. And that doesn't mean we're gonna praise it and talk about how great it is, but we'll show it off. So if you're confident in your app, then come contact me. I'll be happy to set you up so you can share your program with you. Or if you have any other Bible or church-related software or apps that you want to have us show off and let people know about, we'll try to do so.
Hey,
But,
Kevin, can I point to one thing very quickly since my presentation got so bungled with technical
sure,
difficulties?
go ahead.
If you go to our website, if you just go to accordancebible.com/blog and you scroll down to the February 10th entry, there's a video that I created, and this one's only about 5 minutes long, but it shows off these new features. I'm actually not going to play it here, but it will show off the new features. Pretty much everything that we showed here very succinctly. It has a list of them there as well too.
Okay, and we'll link to that on the show notes on theotek.com as well.
Thank you.
All right, Antoine, we said that we would give you an opportunity to share. He's got some exciting things coming up that he's participating in or even hosting, one of which is a new round of classes on Mobile Ministry Magazine, and then a conference. So take it away.
Sure. Starting actually this past the 9th, February the 9th, the Mobile Ministry Forum, which is a consortium of now over 120 churches and parachurches who all have at least one person in their community who is dealing with mobile technology and ministry. They are doing another set of courses. It's a 4-week course. We run that course twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. The course costs $40, but basically it's an introduction to using mobile technology in ministry. Covers everything from apps and web development to security concerns. If you've got folks that are going to go overseas, if you've got folks in your IT department who are looking to skill up and just kind of figure out what's going new, that's an excellent course to take part of. The Mobile Ministry Forum also has a conference consultation that happens in April. The next one should be happening this April, right after the Eurasian Media Conference, which is in Chiang Mai this year. So stay tuned for more information about that as I get it. The other thing is if you and your church has IT persons who need a break, who need a little bit of a spiritual reboot, in addition to needing some skills up, the International Conference of Computing and Mission, ICCM, has its USA conference going on in June. The European version of this conference literally just wrapped up last week. Australia is going on in this fall, and Africa is going on in April. So if your church is looking to do a mission trip, or your IT persons are looking to see how other people are dealing with technology solutions, either on the missions field or in local communities that is not their own, ICCM is an excellent engagement. The June event is going to be at Lancaster Bible College from June 10th to 14th, or 6th to 10th, I'm sorry. And the cost for that conference is going to be just under $400, which includes the housing and the meals, everything except the transportation, honestly. So if you deal with IT, it's definitely a good thing to go there. I'll be speaking at least once. I'm also dealing with some of the marketing for that. I'm trying to wrangle Rick so that he could also do a session. We'll figure out how I can pull that off.
Absolutely.
Actually, if Wes wanted to come as well and do a piece on sermon painting, that probably would be a really good idea as well. Because what's really powerful about these kind of conferences or these engagements is that we find exactly how the local church pours into the global church as it relates to technology and arts and missions and just serving and service. It's a difficult thing for folks to wrap their heads around who are not working in ministry, but for those who are in ministry and looking for somebody that acts like them, thinks like them, talks like them in terms of tech and ministry, there aren't too many other items that are happening in the world other than those two. So that's all.
What are the dates for that again, Antoine?
6th through 10th, but don't quote me on that because I really should know that off the top of my head.
6th through 10th
of what month?
June.
Thank you.
That's all right. I should be really better with that if I'm the guy that's doing marketing, but I've had a lot lately.
I think they'll forgive you this week and next week, but after that, you better have it on the ball, right?
Yeah, actually, registration actually opens up for ICCM US in 2 weeks and ICCM Africa in 3 weeks. So, which would be pretty cool. The Africa event's going on April 8th. It's single digits. And that's a 3-day event. That's going on in Nairobi, which is going to be excellent. It's the second year that this has been pulled off, and they had over 100 persons last year who expressed interest in literally creating a South African version of this as they speak right now because of just the response for technology in the church, around the church, outside the church, on the African continent. It's really cool stuff.
Nice.
You can find out more on iccm.org, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and we'll have a link to that as well at Theotek, so you can figure that out. We'll put that under our favorite things, even though that's not one of your favorite things, but I'm sure it's also one of your favorite things.
All right, let me correct the date. The date for ICCM Americas is the 10th to the 14th, not the 6th to the 10th. See, I knew my brain was going crazy. And then ICCM Africa is April 20th to 23rd.
Lancaster Bible College. All right.
Lancaster Bible College, yeah, man, right down the road.
That sounds good. And on your webpage for the classes, I was looking at your site here real quick, and where do I find the...
mobileministryforum.org is the URL for that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I
don't have a link on your homepage. All right,
I should put a link to that at Mobile Ministry Magazine. Good call. That'll be up there soonish.
Yeah, if I can remember, I'll put a link on. I think we need to update our about pages because I don't think I have La Rosa listed, so we'll put it on there as well. All right, great. Thanks a lot, guys. It's been a good podcast, and I appreciate you showing that off, Rick.
It's been a stressful podcast.
Yeah, sorry about that. We still enjoyed it, and we'll be back, of course, next week at our regular time again, and we're looking at trying to get some guests. And so, if you are involved in church and Bible technology and want to show off something, come and see us. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and through iTunes for the audio version, as well as Stitcher Radio, which means just about any podcast app that uses that. Most of them do, like Pocket Casts and Downcast and Dogcatcher and all of those on Android. They all seem to use that. So you'll be able to find us just about any good podcasting app. If we're not in the podcasting app, you shouldn't be using that podcasting app. And that's the way it goes. So thanks, guys, and we're signing off. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night.